Ayan na mga kameta, kamusta kayo dyan? I hope you can hear us. Ito na, talagang vlogger mode tayo ngayon. Vlogger mode tayo ngayon. Sorry, yung lighting natin is not there yet, but I hope yung sound systems natin, I hope yung mga basic visuals natin is okay. Of course, medyo sa bundok-bundukan tayo ngayon, di ba? Kaya yung internet natin is not there yet. But I hope the audio is better, mga kameta. Ito, gamit na natin mga podcast style. Back in the day. Booyaka siya. Kamusta kayo dyan? Ito na. May update na po tayo. Mukhang, katulad ng sinabi natin, the next step for Senator Leila de Lima will be to make sure that hindi lang on her part, ma-vindicate siya legally, but at the same time, she'll make a big step so that ma-vindicate yung buong judicial system natin because after all, the very fact na isang senator ng isang republic, no? Isang tao na kasing taas ng position niya, back in 2016 at least, was subjected to the kind of legal trial. I mean, in a sense, literally, spiritually, the kind of harassment that she faced throughout the years. At ngayon, kitang-kita natin, malapit na tayo mga kameta, malapit na tayo. Ito na, malapit na tayo na clearly ma-vindicate na si Senator de Lima in terms of the legal cases. But the next step, the natural next step for her to be to make sure na yung 6 years, actually on 7 years na nawala sa kanya, na this will not happen to anyone else again. I think this is the issue here because it's one thing to make sure that someone who has been a subject of legal harassment and worse in her case, it's one thing for that person to finally have a taste of freedom. But it's another thing to make sure na hindi maulit ito, no? Para sana hindi maulit-ulit, no? Ito yung essentially tema ni Senator Leila de Lima. So kanina meron tayong report dyan sa One News, of course. Mga kapatid natin dyan sa One News. Mukhang si ka-R&R pa natin yung guest kanina dyan, ha? With sila, paring Joe Provencia at saka Ed Lingao. So, sinend lang link sa akin kanina. So, it looks like mga kameta, no? Na Senator de Lima is now looking to go on the offensive. Booyaka siya! So, katulad ng ang pinost natin kanina dyan on Twitter, dito sa Facebook, at saka doon sa mga iba't ibang mga platforms natin. Ito na. So, doon sa show na Sa Totoo Lang, sa One News, ito mga kapatid po natin yan. So by the way, next week, officially Monday, magsa-start na po yung second season po ng The View from Manila, kung saan pag-usapan natin yung mga leading geopolitical issues of our era with ambassadors, with top experts from all around the world. Abangan yan. So next Monday, si Ambassador De Vega, Undersecretary for Migrant Affairs, ang kausap po natin. Magaling siya mag-Espanyol, mahusay. And then, of course, we'll have Yusek Malaya, Undersecretary and spokesman for the National Security Council Malaya to talk about the law of issues. So marami pa tayong mga guests, marami tayong pag-usapan. But for this week, dito sa Totoo Lang, ito, nakita natin update kanina mga kameta na pinost natin doon sa ating sa mga platforms. Ito, Sa Totoo Lang, show hashtag Sa Totoo Lang. Dito, sinabi na, sigurado na raw si dating Senadora Leila de Lima. Nakasuhan si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, aming dati puro mga ex. Kaugnay ito ng pagkakakulong niya na higit 6 na taon dahil sa kasong may kinalaman sa droga, or just to be more accurate about this, questionable na kaso, supposedly may kinalaman sa droga. Ito po ang sinabi ni Senator de Lima doon kanina, live siya, kausap niya po yung media, so she's now on the offensive. Ito po yung sinabi niya, he knows what exactly he did to me, referring to the ex-president. He knows, sabi niya. He knows. So wag siyang magpa-inosente, wag siyang magpa-kunyari, ay wala akong kinalaman dyan sa judiciary. Wait lang, sino nag-appoint ng Justice Secretary, okay? At wag tayo magpanggap, alam naman natin ang kalakaran. Okay, he knows what exactly he did to me. So dapat, he must acknowledge yung gravity. The gravity ng injustice, the travesty of justice, yung mga pangapi niya sa kanya. But of course, mga kameta, as we discussed last night with ka-R&R, among others, and also dun sa sarili kong analysis, of course, the question right now is, what's next? So, suing Rodrigo Duterte could be one option for Leila de Lima. At least she's indicating that she's committed to that track. And then kanina, meron din tayong news item na shinare natin. Ito, former Senate President Franklin Drilon, who by the way was also the former Justice Secretary, so this is someone who knows a thing or two about law. Sabi niya, hindi lang si Digong, no, potentially former DOJ Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre II. Oh, alam niyo na yan, ito yung mga natin dyan. Who allegedly forced the witness to testify against former Senate. I'm sorry about that. Okay, nice. Nice time. Who allegedly forced a witness to testify against former Senator De Lima may be imprisoned for 10 to 12 years if proven guilty. Na ito, na sineset up talaga yung dating senadora na si Leila De Lima. So, it looks like the game plan right now daw is, at least dun sa kampo ni Leila De Lima, is that they're prepared na. And I'm sure na all those years, when she was in detention at hindi pa siya nag-grant ng bail, they were anticipating etong opportunity na just in case if mapalaya siya under a non-Digong administration, perhaps there'll be also an opening for her to get back, no? And to take the fight back dun sa kanyang tormentors in that sense. And of course, again, Senator De Lima has made it sure this is not about only her case, not only more than 6 years or almost 7 years of her life, thousands of days of her lives. So 24 hours and then times thousands, no? Almost 2,000 days, no? So yun yung nawalan sa kanya. But this is about yung, at least, ayon sa kanyang kampo, ito yung pambababoy, no? Ito yung bastardization and adulterization ng the justice system na allegedly nangyari sa dating administration, mga kameta. So yun po ang situation here. So of course, if Digong is potentially the one that they'll go after, if former Justice Aguirre is the one that they'll go potentially after, then you can guess there are also other people in the radar here, di ba? Yung mga iba dyan of course, I mean, let me be quite serious about this. Of course, may mga tao dyan na unfortunately kulang sa discretion. May mga tao dyan na dahil sa mga kulto-kulto dyan, may mga tao dyan dahil sa kanilang hatred, sa kanilang lack of moral conviction, sa kanilang lack of moral compass, sa kanilang political hatred, dahil sa kanilang yung na-brainwash tong mga ibang kasama natin dyan. Unfortunately, yung mga iba dyan, nadadala, no? Back in the day, dun sa mga kalokohan, yung mga hateful, ubusin kind of mindset, no? Yung super galit sa lahat ng mga dilawan, sinisisi lahat ng mga dilawan sa lahat ng nangyaring masama, even if hindi naman dilawan si Erap Estrada, kamusta naman yung administration ni Erap, hindi naman technically President Ramos was actually a first cousin of Marcos's, and he was also a top military official throughout the days during the Marcos era. Even if hindi dilawan si Arroyo in a sense, I mean seriously, I mean Arroyo is dilawan, I mean Arroyo is as close as you can get into the de facto mentor of Digong among others. No, so all of yung mga pangbababoy, yung mga ideological brainwashing, all of that horrible thinking, no? Everything na nangyari throughout the year. So, unfortunately, right, maraming nadala, no, dun sa hatred of the moment, emotion of the moment. But there are some people na alam nila na hindi totoo yung mga accusations laban kay former Senator De Lima, and yet they abused their office. Yes, some of these people were in positions of power, and others abused their platforms and influence to spread nonsense, to spread vulgar, barbarous kind of disinformation, very misogynist, barbaric vulgarity against the ex-senator. So maybe it's time to draw the line. So mukhang Senator De Lima will be looking at a number of people, starting with, alam niyo na sino, and then yung mga henchmen, yung mga alam niyo na, yung mga minions, among others. So let's see where this is gonna go. This is very interesting. Now, kahapon, pinag-usapan din natin yung prospects, mga kameta, for moving in the direction of, dapat dito ko siguro nilagay yung lighting, medyo dark. Moving in the direction of ICC, di ba? Moving in the direction of ICC, sige, I think okay pa naman tong lighting na to. Moving in the direction of ICC. Okay ba yung sounds natin dyan? Hindi naman malayo. Sorry, set up lang natin. Ito, moving in the sense, in the direction of ICC. Now, obviously, some people are sensing that baka hindi tapos ang unfinished business itong ICC na to. Now, just not to get ahead of ourselves, remember, the reason why medyo nag-disagree ako kay ka-R&R, in fact, alam ni R&R, mas na-predict ko itong ano. But anyway, mamaya na tayo mag-credit grabbing. No, because I was very optimistic about Leila de Lima being freed this year. At least on bail, no? I was very optimistic as soon as lumabas yung memo at saka as soon as na gets ko na medyo delikado na itong unit team na yan. So you can check that in yung Nexus episodes natin with Leloy Claudio. This was 6-8 months. And I think even last year, medyo na-mention ko yung possibility na yan, di ba? I remember very well Leloy saying something like, I like your way of thinking. Ganun yung response niya. So, anyway, bukas, by the way, tuloy sana, God willing, yung RRL natin, Review of Related Literature, in the Ricardo, Ronaldo, and Lisandro. No? Itong RRL naman natin, bukas, pag-usapan natin, marami tayong pag-usapan. No, going back to this. One reason why I was a bit skeptical about the ICC issues, because as I said nga, the ICC issue could be a rallying cry for the DDS camp, no? Because kung talagang may posibilidad na makulong or maimbestiga or tapos si tata ay biglang, ay matanda na ako, ganun, alam niyo na, di ba? That could be a rallying cry. That could be an emotionally resonant rallying cry, and pwede mag-backfire kay BBM yan sa midterm elections. So sabi ko, unless si BBM ay sigurado na, they got this under control, meaning the whole political situation ahead of the midterm elections, and they got this in the bag in the sense that they're confident that they're going to do very well in midterm elections. Delikado yan move na yan if they move in that direction. So I'm still skeptical that BBM will jump on the ICC, considering that yung official position ng kanyang administration, and even in his own statements earlier this year, sabi niya, we're done with the ICC essentially. So just to refresh, no, back in July 20th, sabi ni President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Sa isang speech na done na po ang Pilipinas with the International Criminal Court after the ICC announced its decision to resume its probe into drug war killings, alleged killings under sa ilalim ng previous administration. So ito yung sinabi ni Marcos Jr. in July. That's it. We have no appeals pending. We have no more actions being taken. So I suppose that puts an end to our dealings with the ICC. So we continue to defend the sovereignty of the Philippines and continue to question the jurisdiction of the ICC in their investigations here in the Philippines. But of course, that's what he said, right? Now, since July, of course, many things have changed. Yung unit team ay more or less tapos na, functionally over yung unity, although I suspect BBM himself will say nice things about Sara and even be nice and hold back from attacking the former president. But in many ways, functionally, the unity team has disintegrated. No, so that's one big change since July. The other big change since July is geopolitical. So habang lumalala itong situation sa West Philippines, nakikita natin na mas komportable na ang administration natin na pag-usapan ang additional arbitration case against China. So now the Philippine government is suddenly talking about rule of law. Now the Philippine government is suddenly talking about potentially leveraging international law and international legal instruments to defend the Philippine national interest. So kung ganyan ang peg mo bigla na, okay, baka pwede natin kasuhan ulit ng China for additional arbitration case. Now, of course, if you want to know more details about the potential for supplementary or complementary or subsequent forms of arbitration, please check my interview with former Associate Justice Antonio Carpio, someone who knows a thing or two about international law. So pinag-usapan namin yung arbitration case of 2016. Pinag-usapan din natin yung 2019 case against Xi Jinping and top Chinese leader at the ICC. Right? So we have at least two forms of arbitration cases have been filed against China with varying degrees of success or not so success. But the idea here was tuloy-tuloy dapat yung legal warfare or lawfare. So now the Philippine government is openly suggesting that they're open. I'm talking about the DOJ. I'm talking about the Solicitor General. So these are the very people, right, who in one way or another were very ICC skeptical, right? ICC skeptics, no? But now these are the very people who are saying we can leverage international legal instruments to push for the Philippine sovereign rights. Now, obviously, of course, there are two different things, when you talk about the Philippines' sovereign rights sa West Philippine Sea, hindi yan sakop ng ICC technically speaking, or at least Well, depends eh. Depends eh. Kasi yung case na ginawa nung in 2019, this is not by the Philippine government, but this is by former and the late Foreign Secretary Del Rosario and former Associate Justice Conchita Carpio Morales. So please check yung interview ko. Please check yung interview ko with Conchita Morales, Justice Conchita Morales and late Secretary Del Rosario. Mahanap niyan sa online. So I interviewed them before dun sa ICC case na final nila laban sa China ukol sa West Philippine Sea. So what they did was, because ICC doesn't cover sovereign entities, it covers individuals. So kinasuhan yung individual Chinese leaders na allegedly involved in violating the basic human rights of the Filipino people by depriving the Filipino fishermen, yung mga mayingista natin, the right and the ability to exercise yung traditional fishing rights nila dyan sa West Philippine Sea, sa Panatag Shoal, among others. So dinikit nila po yung 2016 Arbitration Award doon sa mandato ng ICC, and then kinasuhan nila yung mga top leaders ng China. Now, that legal move didn't prove to be so successful. But then again, that's my point. Ngayon, meron kang mga top Filipino officials suddenly talking about international legal instrument. So medyo weird na super hostile ka sa ICC and then umasa ka sa ibang international legal instrument to help you out. You get what I'm saying? I mean, again, obviously, technically, they're different. I get it. Right? They're different because if you're gonna file another arbitration case against China, this most likely will have to do a thing or two with this will be under Article 287 Annex 7 of UNCLOS. So this will be compulsory arbitration potentially, right? Again, because China is not gonna agree to be part of it, so we'll have to go through compulsory arbitration. And previously we proved that that could be exercised under certain circumstances. So, ibang usapan yung mga legal niceties. But for me, psychologically, morally, diplomatically, very important na ang Philippines sends a clear signal that we are one with international legal instruments and we believe in the value of international legal instruments. So if that's your positioning, and which I believe should be the position of the Philippines, and then you keep on bashing ICC, which is a manifestation of international legal instrument, international law, medyo sabog yan, right? Medyo may disjuncture dyan. So that's the thing that has to be harmonized. So potentially you may see, because of the disintegration, implosion of the unit team, because of the reappearance of an additional supplementary arbitration threat against China because of the West Philippine Sea, because of our efforts to protect the Philippines' sovereign rights in the West Philippine Sea, baka ngayon, medyo lalambot ang position ng gobyerno sa ICC. So those are the two factors I see at the very least, which may have been game changers since July, when President Marcos Jr. made those very strong statements. That's it, we have no appeal pending, we have no more actions being taken, so I suppose that puts an end to our dealings with the ICC. Yung mga ganyung position. My sense is there's a third element here, and the third element is pressure by democratic partners of the Philippines. I won't be surprised. I don't have a direct information, and if I had a direct information, I won't share it with you. Of course, it will be confidential. My sense is, and actually I wrote about it, I said this is important. My sense is, behind the scenes, quietly, America, the Biden administration, yung mga European counterparts natin, gently nudged BBM to make some reforms on the human rights front. Just as the two sides doubled down dun sa kanilang cooperation on geopolitical front and dealing with China. So this is a third factor. And kind of they're all related in one way or another, diba? Related because, as I said, hindi ka maging kampante to take on Duterte if you don't feel you have international support. Hindi ka maging kampante to take a tougher stance on West Philippine Sea if you don't feel you have international support. But that international support also perhaps came with international moral suasion, right? Essentially encouraging BBM to do something on human rights front. Because, let's be honest, my reputation ng mga Marcoses, so if you're a democratic administration in the White House like Biden, if you're a assumed moral agent in international affairs like the European Union, you cannot forever be nice to Marcos Jr. and not face criticism like, wait, beshi na kayo ni Marcos dahil hate niyo yung China? Or beshi kayo ni Marcos because Marcos is really a reformer bringing something good. So bringing something good and being a reformer, something has to be done on that front. So I'm sure behind the scenes, need a nudge si BBM to take a softer stance on the ICC issue, and in exchange there'll be more support for him on West Philippine Sea, on other issues, and, well, you can guess, right? There are many things to keep in mind. So, That's why I said, in theory, it is possible that the ICC is now once again an option. But again, this is where I kind of disagree with Ronald. I said, medyo hinay-hinay siguro si Marcos Jr. So I don't think Marcos Jr. will jump on this unless he's absolutely sure that he's prepared to go all in. Because it's one thing for the Lima to be freed, more or less. It's one thing for, you know what I'm saying, the confidential fund of Sara to be removed and all of that. Is one thing na ma-demote si Arroyo, those things are, of course, already more than warning shots. But once ICC comes in and tries to, I don't know, investigate or arrest for, members of the former administration, including who, then ibang usapan na yan. Ibang usapan na yan, di ba? Sobrang escalation na yan. Big time na yan. Next level na yan. O, yung mga ka-DDS natin dyan, excited na. O, excited na makigera. Alright? So, this is where I think it's interesting that you are seeing some statements coming from, especially those who are close to the former president. Now, just to be clear, first of all, this is a statement that we saw from a number of officials who welcome, the independence of the supposed independence of the Philippine judiciary. I will go to that person yet. But before that, first, si Justice Secretary Justin Crispin Remulla said the grant of bail showed that courts are independent and that, quote, that democracy is alive and well in our country. So yun yung position ng Justice Secretary natin. Obviously, he has every interest to claim that the Philippine justice system is fantastic. Well, based on what? This sample, a single sample, as big as the sample is. But this is where things are more interesting because former Senator Amy Marcos, who's very close to President Duterte, also immediately came out and said, this case proves that independent at functional ang Philippine judiciary. So sabi niya, the independence of judiciary is present and true. Our court is court of law and justice, oblivious of personalities or any political noise. Senator De Lima's bail yesterday was a testament to that. Okay, now, obviously you can see what is the legal implication and by extension, political implication of this kind of claims, no? If you maintain that the Philippine judicial system is functional and that the Philippine judicial system is working and perfect based on this single sample, right? In the meantime, ang dami pang mga other cases. Kamusta yung kaso ni Percy Lapid? Kamusta yung kaso nung yung mga recently slain na mga journalists, yung mga slain na mga abogado, among others, diba? If you look at all of that, mga kameta, of course, you're gonna raise your eyebrows and say, wait, I'm not sure Philippines is there yet. I mean, of course, this is a move in the right direction. But again, you'll understand why they will claim that. They'll claim that because exactly as Senator Amy Marcos mentioned, if functional and independent Philippine courts, therefore, under the principle of complementarity, dapat walang pake ang ICC to come in. In fact, as she put it clearly, ICC has no business meddling with our justice system because under the principle of complementarity, papasok lang ICC if there are grounds to believe that hindi gumagana yung justice system natin. So please check yung interviews ko, not one, multiple interviews natin with legal experts, international humanitarian law experts, among others, especially Attorney Carranza. No? So we discussed the principle of complementarity and we discussed why the Philippines has not been able to establish effectively that its courts are doing their job when it comes to the EJK cases. Because if you have thousands, if not tens of thousands of alleged EJKs, and then mga pitik-pitik lang dito, dyan lang nagkaroon ng mga semblance of trial and judicial dispensation, then may problema tayo dito, di ba? So what others are arguing, and this is actually the argument also of ICC, is that yes, under the principle of complementarity, we can only come in as a last resort. And guess what? We do not believe that the Philippine courts have the Philippine judicial system as a whole, not only courts, because kasama rin yung mga executive judicial branches, judicial agencies. The position of ICC is that hindi kayo nagpakita ng willingness, diba? So kung hindi kayo nagpakita ng willingness, then iwan nyo na lang sa amin yan. And of course, as we always say, kung wala naman itatago ang dating administration, kung wala naman talagang mali, kung puro mga propaganda lang pala yung nangyayari dito sa mga allegations na yan, and then dapat wala silang ikakatakot, di ba? So, This is what's happening right now. So allies of Duterte are essentially coming out, including especially Senator Amy Marcos, coming out and saying, see, kung mapapalaya na si De Lima and she's already on bail, then that means our courts are working. Well, of course, what was not mentioned is that, well, it took 7 years for her to get a bail. Why there was such a delay in terms of her trial. There was no explanation of tens of thousands of unresolved alleged EJ case. There's no explanation of all of those other slain journalist cases that remain unresolved. So I don't think anyone who knows a thing or two about a functional judicial system, about rule of law, would confidently argue that the Philippines is there already. Now, again, kudos to the Philippine courts, the Philippine judicial authorities for showing good signs in recent months, and I think the situation has improved significantly over the past year. But let's not kid ourselves. Malayo pa tayo sa situation ng rule of law, right? Okay, etong gagong Jojo Moreno ba yan? I know that's a fake account. You umayos ka, okay? Kakasuhan ka kita. Mahanapin ko yung IP address mo. No bullshit here. Sorry about that, okay? If you disagree with me, okay? If you disagree with me, you can disagree with me substantially, but don't make any threats or any nonsense there, okay? Okay. Anyway, all right. This is just a discussion, mga kameta. We're just looking at the analysis aspect here, and we're trying to look at the dynamics. Hindi, kasi mga kameta, napansin ko biglang mula kahapon, etc. Dumadami na naman itong mga walang yan trolls na yan. Most likely, hindi totoong account yan. But if totoong account yan, pakireport yan, Pakireport yung, ano yan, yung gagong yan, okay? You don't come here and make statements like that, right? Umayos ka. Papa-IP address ko yan. Umayos ka. You guys should know who you're messing with, okay? Hindi nyo napanoon to. Okay? Umayos kayo dyan. Alright? We're not gonna allow you guys to intimidate us anymore. Na-try niyan for 6-7 years. Umayos kayo dyan. Okay. Pa-report niyan, pa-screenshot yung pangalan niyan. Kung sino man nagtitreten dyan, tsaka nagsasabi ng mga katangahan dyan, paki-screenshot yan. Forward natin yan sa mga authorities. Walang ipipin down natin yung mga IP address nyo. Umayos kayo dyan. I'm not kidding around here. Okay, I know that's a fake account, but good luck sa'yo kung hindi fake account yan. Alright? Yan. Pakiyan yan. I-screenshot nyo yan. Basta kung may isang gago dyan, nagko-comment dyan, paki-screenshot nyo Okay, hanapin natin yan. Sorry about that. Sorry. No, because this is a serious issue, alright? And we're expressing our views here. If you disagree with me, I'm perfectly fine with that. Except I doubt any of you guys who are trolling me are anywhere close to analytic accuracy or anything like that, alright? Mais kayo, hindi niya panon to, alright? This is an intellectual conversation. If your tiny brain cannot take it, then get out of here. We don't need you, alright? We have thousands of people watching us, so we don't need you. So sorry about that, okay? Uminit ang ulo ko, medyo gabi na, 10 p.m. na ito. I'm just doing my best here, okay, to have an intelligent conversation about a high-stakes issue. So, yung mga iba dyan, umayos kayo, okay? Believe me, I'm not gonna be nice. I'm not gonna be nice just like that, alright? O ikaw, umayos. Sino makausap mo? Alright. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Medyo gabi na. Ayan na yung mga ibang trolls natin sa YouTube, etc. No, I mean, unfortunately, this is part of the business. They have tried to do this for a long time, diba? For 6-7 years, in-intimidate tayo. Tignan mo naman yung ginawa nila kay Leila de Lima. Tignan mo naman yung nangyari kay, alam mo na, diba? So they have tried to do this to a lot of us, to a lot of people. They have tried to intimidate us and all. But yun na talaga mga kameta. If mahina tayo, if magpapa-intimidate tayo sa mga walang iyang mga low lives na yan, right? Walang mangyari sa bansa natin. Wala talaga mangyari sa bansa natin. And at the same time, mga kameta, let's be absolutely clear about this. This is analysis, all right? We're not making any legal claims or anything like that. I just said alleged EJ case, alleged this. So everything comes with a caveat because we still have to wait for courts to make the final judgment on these issues. But what I wanted to really talk about here, iyakan nga talaga mga yan, nagpa-panic mode na sila di ba? Pathetic nga pathetic. Umayos talaga kayo Alright, akala nyo mabait ako? You don't mess with me, okay? You don't mess with me. Okay, 6 years. Yung 6 years na yan, hinaras-saras nyo kami, tinitreten nyo kami, alright? Hindi kami nagpatalo sa inyo, kaya umayos kayo dyan, alright? And make sure you know you're messing with, okay? Walang iya, mga low lives na yan. Screenshot niyan ha, ganito tayo mga kameta. Isi-screenshot natin mga lahat ng mga walang iya dyan, alright? Or trying to abuse our space, alright? Or mess around with us. Ipapaano ko yan sa mga kaibigan natin sa gobyerno, alright? Dun sa mga, papa-NBI natin mga yan. Akala naman walang yan to, wala tayong connections, ano? Are you kidding me? Okay, are you kidding me? You mess with me, your name will go straight up to the authorities. Okay? Umayos kayo dyan. Umayos kayo dyan. Paki-forward sa akin, screenshot yung mga niyan. Hanapin natin ang IP address ng mga yan. Hanapin natin mga yan. Paki-forward dyan sa messenger niyan. Okay? This is a safe space, supposedly. Okay? So we're not gonna allow for anyone to mess around with us. You did it for 6 years, pero the tide has shifted. Okay? Ibang panon na yan. Gumising na kayo sa katotohanan. Ibang panon na yan. Actually, dating panon, marami na tayong kaibigan na in positions of power. Alright? Yun lang sinasabi ko O, Leonidas Duro. Sino kausap mo? Ako or ikaw? Isa ka pa. Umayos kayo dyan, ha? Umayos kayo dyan. Again, you have a disagreement with me. It's okay. Magsulat kayo. Di mag-vlog kayo. No one is stopping you. Exercise your human rights. Alright? Ayan na. Yung mga nasa YouTube na, nagbabardagulan na sila dyan. Okay, anyway. No, sabi ko once in a while kasi you have to remind people. Ako, ito parating kong sinasabi. Pag ikaw ay vlogger, ikaw may platform, etc., ikaw ay isang intellectual, etc., you have to also make sure you draw the line. And you have to make sure you encourage your supporters, your followers, to do the right thing and to draw the line. Hindi ako naniniwala sa mga kameta, sa mga kabaitan, sa mga ganyan typong tao, di ba? We are polite people. We follow certain basic rules. We follow certain ethical standards. But when people are abusing our space, no, in order to intimidate us or prevent us from having intelligent conversation, zero tolerance tayo dyan. Alright? Zero tolerance talaga tayo dyan. Okay? Alright, on that note, thank you very much. Again, tomorrow, pag-usapan natin with si Paring Ka-R&R, among others. Okay, Paring Ka-R&R, among others. Pag-usapan natin yan, mga kameta. Tingnan natin what's gonna happen. Tingnan natin anong... Uminit talaga ulo ko kinokontrol ko ng sarili. Kita nyo na mga kameta, di ba? Medyo desperate mode na yata yung iba dyan. Desperate mode na iba dyan, okay? You can see it Nade-desperate na sila, nagsascramble na sila, kaya nagwawala sila dito. Except, kita mo naman, ilan-ilan na lang sila, pitik-pitik na lang sila, di ba? But, ganyan talaga. Ngayon, alam niyo na yung feeling na binubuli-buli na sila. Wala na, no match kayo dito. Kayo matatroll dito pag pupunta kayo dito. Anyway, tanggalin ko na itong init. Mainit pala pag... Hindi, ang akin lang mga kameta. We have to keep these spaces, we have to keep these spaces safe. Alright? And that's why we have to exercise authority and draw the boundaries among others. Okay? Yun lang naman But, just to be clear mga kameta, if you have disagreements dun sa analysis natin, okay lang yun. Mag-ano lang kayo dyan, magsulat lang kayo ng counter-argument yung mag-post kayo. No one is stopping you. Alright? Pero, in the meantime, walang bastusan. Walang bastusan, guys. Okay? We have to draw the line here. Okay? On that note, thank you very much. Maraming salamat. So bukas, God willing, hindi ko na alam dun sa mga masamang tao na yan. Diyos ko, bahalang Lord sa inyo. Tsaka bahalang ng NBI sa inyo. Screenshot na yan. Alright. Thank you very much again sa lahat ng mga sumusuporta at nagmamahal sa atin. I really appreciate that. At kanina lang, medyo late tayo nagsimula kasi kanina binibisita lang natin yung lola natin. Ang sarap ng kwento. Ang dami namin kinikwento. Yung Second World War, yung mga circumstances that she grew up in. So Lola was sharing how difficult it was for her to grow up nung panahon ng mga Hapon, no? Nung kinonquer sila ng Hapon, and they had to live in the mountains and to survive on, whatever they could find in nature. So, that's the kind of family I come from. My grandmother grew up during Japanese occupation, right? She was like 3-4-year-old kid. She had to save her family and loved ones, all of those things. So, we come from that kind of background, all right? So, you don't mess with us, all right? Make sure you know who you're messing with, okay? Anyway, at the same time, importante rin dito, we draw the lines so that people feel safe to express your opinion and all. Now, obviously, okay, aminado ako minsan medyo kantsawan, medyo ganon. But you have to also understand where I'm coming from. For 6, 7 years, binuli-bully tayo. Except, you want to bully me. You want to bully me. It's not gonna happen, alright? But I'm not gonna just forget what they did to us for 6, 7 years. Pinuli-bully tayo, tinotroll-troll tayo, tinitreaten-treaten tayo, pero hindi tayo nagpatalo. So ngayon na talong-talo yung kampo nila, na sobrang marginalized nila, gusto nila mag-feeling dito. Umayos kayo dyan. Anyway, so I'll keep it there, and then God willing tomorrow, we'll continue this conversation with Sir Ronald Llamas and also with Lele Claudio. Medyo gabi na yan because Lelo is joining us from University of California, Berkeley. So just before his class in the morning, kausapin natin siya. So this will be a little bit late in the night. So I think around 11 p.m., 10 p.m., something like that. So please wait for that. If ever there's any big development, we're gonna have an update vlog ahead of that. But otherwise, just watch, just wait na lang for us, alright? Anyway, sorry medyo nung nakita ko yung mga ganun, bumalik ulit yung yung nakaganyan mode ko, di ba? Kasi for 6 years, mga kameta, nakaganyan tayo, di ba? Kasi ano yung alternative, di ba? You cannot call yourself an intellectual or patriot kung na-threaten ka lang, biglang hindi ka na magsalita. Kung ganun, wala na mangyari sa atin. Kaya nga si Leila de Lima, all of the sacrifices she made, di ba? So, yun lang mga kameta, alright? Yari talaga itong mga to sa atin. Tawag na natin si mga kaibigan natin sa National Security Council, Yusek! Yan, pa-Yusek, kausap. Isang tawag lang sa akin yan, diretso yung mga walang iyang mga yan. Alright? Okay. Yan lang. Hoy, umayos ka, Roy, sa Montanes. Isa ka pa, ha? Ito talaga mga ka-DDS na yan. Alright. Thank you very much. God bless and talk to you soon. And then pawisang, init kasi dito pala pag nakaganyan ka Lalong uminit ang ulo natin. Alright, on that note, maraming salamat. Thank you very much. God bless and talk to you soon. And yeah, please also make sure you spend time with your Lola and loved ones. Alright? That's always a priority. Comes before everything, including Meta. Pero I'm glad na nakahabol time. Alright? On that note, thank you very much. God bless and talk to you soon. And yung mga ibang troll dyan, balikan kayo in a second. Don't worry about it. Mo-block kayo very shortly. Thank you very much. God bless.